Welcome to this week's video. So what we're going to cover today is a quick overview of the nutrition pyramid, and what this should do is give you an understanding of what's massively important and what's not so important when it comes to your nutrition. Alright, so what you'll probably know of diet and nutrition is calories, protein, lowering your calories to lose fat and reducing the foods that you like eating, and that's probably where your brain thinks of when you think of nutrition. Where in reality, if we understand the pyramid, we can start building habits and applications to a long sustainable plan to help you gain muscle, lose fat, or do both of them, or perform in a sport, or perform in your day-to-day life. And as we increase our knowledge and understanding of nutrition, we can manipulate it in a way that it doesn't feel like a diet. It's just how you eat. That's just how you are. And similar to what we're doing with our training, you are just someone who now trains. And you'll then become someone who just eats in a certain way and understands foods, opposed to being on what we call a diet. Very quick introduction then. So I'm going to explain the structure of the nutrition pyramid, so give you an overview of it. It'll be a quick overview, and we'll do more videos in depth on each section of the pyramid. I want you to understand where to apply your focus, all right? So what's important and what's not. So from this video, I want you to have a little bit of understanding of okay, so that's where I need to focus this attention I have spare to that, not X, Y, and Z, all right? So getting you the most bang for buck when it comes to your nutrition application, all right? And then finally, this is the big one. Understand adherence is the most important factor. I think without being too philosophical, that's applies to 99.9% of things in life, doesn't it? Nutrition is no different. Training is no different. Adherence to what you're trying to do is going to be the most important factor. What you do, as long as it's loosely in line with what you want to achieve, if you keep consistently doing that, you will achieve it. Okay, so yeah, that's a big one here. Understand adherence is the most important factor. So looking at the nutrition pyramid then, a very quick overview, starting from bottom to top. So if we think, obviously, the foundation is the bottom three blocks, and they're the most important factors in terms of your nutrition, whether it be for sports performance, losing fat, gaining muscle, and so on. So I've added one at the bottom there, which is part of this pyramid, but isn't on the screen, is adherence. So adherence underpins absolutely everything, okay? That is the most important one, and that's linked into your behaviour and lifestyle. So if your behaviour and lifestyle don't match everything above it, then obviously we're never going to be able to do it. So let's just say you go out and party every single night, and that's your behaviour and lifestyle, then you're going to struggle with everything above that, aren't you? So that one is quite self-explanatory. Adherence, behaviour and lifestyle, that is what we do day-to-day life, and we've talked about that, how habits create our reality and our goals. So working our way up then, I'm not going to give too much of an overview on all of these because we're going to go into them in more depth in a second, but we've got the bottom one: energy balance, macronutrients, micronutrients, nutrient timing, and supplements. Okay, so energy balance is basically, are you giving your body enough fuel to perform in day-to-day life? Okay, so basically, if you think of a car, if you need to do 200 miles, are you giving your car 200 miles worth of fuel? Same as you. If you're burning 2,000 calories in a day, which you'll never know, by the way, because the watches aren't accurate at all, but let's say hypothetically you're burning 2,000 calories a day, are you giving it that fuel? Next one up, macronutrients. So this is our calories, this is our proteins, our carbs, and our fats, which obviously make up our calories. Micronutrients is like vitamins, minerals, and stuff like that. Nutrient time is obviously what times we are eating, and then finally supplements, which is like your protein, your creatine, and stuff like that. Okay, so let's get into it in a little bit more depth. First one then that we're going to touch on is energy balance, all right? So a lot of the research is backing this one. This is the big thing when it comes to nutrition, adherence, and results, all right? So a lot of the studies highlight that when this is out of sync, diets and nutrition and stuff like that become a lot more difficult for people. When this is balanced, it's a lot more manageable, which makes sense when you think about it. It's pretty common sense. If you are giving your body what it needs, it's going to be able to sustain whatever it is you're doing to it. Where if you're giving it nowhere near what it needs, then you're going to struggle to maintain that. Again, we use the car analogy. If you're just constantly giving your car a little £5 worth of petrol, it's going to struggle, isn't it? Where if we give it the right amount each day to get from A to B, it's going to perform a lot better. So moving into it then, so this basically is the correct amount of calories equals the correct amount of energy for your life. So So, like I said, if we know your body is burning 2,000 calories, and we know this by your weight changing over a period of time as we apply the calories, then that's basically what we're looking for here. We're looking to give your body the correct amount of energy for the output it does. So say you're someone who doesn't do any exercise, doesn't do any activities, they sit at a desk all day, and they don't burn a lot of energy at all, and we started giving you excess amounts of energy, which is calories. Calories is energy. Then that energy is not going to get burnt off. And I don't want you to think day to day, I'm talking week to week, month to month. Like, I don't want you to think like, oh, I ate that, so I need to burn it off. But over a long period of time, the more energy we put in there, and it doesn't get used, then that'll effectively get stored as fat and not utilised, okay? That's how we gain weight. So we need to find the correct amount of energy for your life. So from that, the correct amount of energy then equals adherence long term, which, as I've touched on there, is essential. So firstly, we need to get you eating correctly, eating the right amount of energy, and then adding long-term consistency to that. Then from that, you can manipulate that in introducing, like as we do it, like Elevate and my online coaching, a small small calorific deficit, okay, which is very minute, but over the weeks and the months, it adds up to long-term fat loss and muscle gain, okay? And most importantly there, fuel your body, not starve it. This is a big one on this slide, all right? We need to fuel your body. We do not want to starve it. And we can fuel it while still losing fat, all right? That's why we do small deficits and not huge ones. I've spoke a few times to people in Elevate about this who want to lose weight, and maybe it's coming off steadily but slowly. I always say to them, you are more than welcome to lower your calories more aggressively to get the weight off, but is that going to be long-term sustainability? And they answer it, and quite luckily that that's saying such good athletes and good people, they say, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to do it slow, steady. And I'm like, okay, great. So it's important you understand that, like, when you're doing this, it's going to come off steadily. It's not going to be starve your body, lose weight. You can't sustain this, so you eat more, you gain the weight. But that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to break that cycle. We're trying to educate you, understand the nutrition principles for long-term consistency and change, okay? And as it says there, this is the big one as well. Understand what starving feels like versus what eating correctly feels like. So I am massively guilty of this in terms of, I think we all are, of a night when I want last night I wanted the Galaxy Enchanted Eggs, and obviously I am not starving. I've ate probably 3,000 calories, so my body is more than fueled. I have plenty of body fat to store to keep me going through the night. So, and I ate them Enchanted Eggs, and that is me just wanting to eat things. Like, so I wasn't starving, but I ate excess calories. So we need to start understanding that. And if you can identify it, it's a big win. So for me, when I'm ready to lose weight, or if I've got a jiu-jitsu tournament and I need to lose body fat, I acknowledge what I'm doing wrong. I'm not just like, oh, I just don't know why I can't lose weight. When I do, I know it's because I ate the Enchanted Eggs. And this might sound dead simple, but you need to start acknowledging when you are excessively eating, okay? Because if we're on a nutrition plan and we're trying to get a calorie deficit, yeah, you're going to be hungry at the end of the night sometimes when you've ate your calories a bit too early, but you're not starving, are you? We need to understand that feeling and fight through it and go to bed, or just deal with it. And if we can't deal with it and it's way too low and it's consistently a problem, that's where you chat with your coach, you chat with me, chat with the other coaches, and we sort your calories out. But if day to day it's fine, and then the odd day you're just absolutely starving overnight, so even I'm using that word, then we need to understand you are not starving. We're just eating correctly, and our body is just craving some more food, but we're not going to give it to it on this occasion because we're trying to lose fat, hypothetically, all right? So understanding the difference between starving and what eating correctly feels like is a big one. Looking at macros in a very quick overview, okay, so I'm going to do some more specific stuff on this, but this is a very quick overview. So the key here is flexibility is essential to adherence, all right? So there's no set figures, no set percentage splits and all that are like set in stone. We have complete flexibility with this. The one thing that I'm a big advocate for most people is 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which I set all my athletes and clients on. So like me, I weigh 200 grams. I weigh 200 pounds body weight, so I have anything from 180 to 200 grams of protein per day, and that's what I set for all you guys, all right? That's essential to maintain muscle mass and build muscle mass, All right. I do not look at my carbs and fats. I just make up the rest of my calories with whatever I want, whether it be carbs or fats, and whatever the split comes out, that's what I do, and that is fine. So you can do the same. Some people like having like very, very like set fats and carbs, like 15% fats and 80% or 60% carbs, and if you want that, that's no problem. We can work that out for you, but it's not essential. The big thing is calories and protein. Make sure they're nailed and make up the fats and carbs with the rest of your calories. But if you did want to look more specific in it, as it says there, 15 to 35% of your calories can come from fats, and the rest will be remaining. You'll utilise in carbs. But I do find this adds a lot of complication to day-to-day life, okay? So I personally wouldn't get too fixated on this. And as I've mentioned in the other nutrition videos, we never really want to go below your body weight times 10 for the minimum amount of calories, all right? Some people who are watching this might be athletes who fight MMA or jiu-jitsu. That's slightly different. But day-to-day life, if we're trying to lose weight, I wouldn't have you on less than this, all right? So if you're a female who weighs 150 pounds, I would never really want you on less than 1,500 calories, okay? Because anything lower this, and it really isn't sustainable. And as I said, that's what all the literature says as well from when they've looked at all the studies. It really isn't sustainable. So that's why I'm reluctant to put people on less than times 10 their body weight in pounds, okay? And as it says there, do not get attached to these numbers. These are simple guidelines, right? We can manipulate these to fit your lifestyle and how you like to have your nutrition and diet and stuff like that. So moving on to the top three elements of the pyramid, we've got macronutrients, timings of meals and supplements, all right? So see some key points here, some takeaway points. So at least 1 serving of fruit and 1 serving of veg per day. And you could have up to 1,000 calories worth of fruit and veg if you think about it, whether you're having some potatoes, loads of veg, loads of fruit. I'd go up to 1,000 calories on that, all right? And that's if you were anything from 2,500 to 3,000, all right? That would obviously change if you are on only 1,500 calories. That would change relative to that, but that just gives you a rough guideline if you were a 90 kg male, all right? But just at least 1 serving of fruit and veg per day. This is a big one. I think I've mentioned this before. Spread your protein out throughout the day. So a couple of people have asked me, like, if I get all my protein, 180 grams of it in 2 sittings, is that okay? And not really. It's not really. We need to spread that out. We need a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the middle of the day, a little bit of an evening, and then everything in between, all right? So try your best to spread that out. And I'd try and do that over a minimum of 3 meals per day. Some sort of breakfast, some sort of dinner, and some sort of tea. All right. I know that's not always possible, but if we can aim off for 3 per day, that will really help with our meal timings. All right. A couple of additional ones here. So if we can have a serving of protein left and right of the gym, this will help as well to get it in. Just psychologically, we have a little bit an hour or two before, a little bit an hour or two afterwards. And that's just going to help you bump your protein up, right, and take the stress off the 3 meals. Because as you said, if you're a 90 kg male like myself, you'd be on 200 grams per day. To get that from 3 meals is quite difficult, so you need to be having it throughout the day, all right? And then finally, the top of the pyramid, you'd utilise supplements to help you fill the gap. So as I mentioned there, if I had 3 meals a day, and that was, let's say that was 130 grams of protein, I've got 80 grams to get now away from my meals, and I might utilise whole foods like yogurts and milk and stuff like that. So that's maybe 150, and I'm still 50 short. And this is where like your supplements come in, your protein bars, your protein powders, all right? So your supplements shouldn't be the staple point of your diet. They should just supplement your food, all right? And then as it says there, the best nutrition plan is the one you can stick to long term. That is the most key point on the nutrition pyramid. Into a quick summary then on what we've covered today, okay? So adherence is the most important factor. That's the key takeaway with most things we're going to cover. Adherence is the most important, all right? Macros can be flexible and change to fit your preference, so don't get fixed to like a set amount of carbs, a set amount of fats, all right? Energy balance is a key factor to results. This is a real key indicator of long-term results if we are balancing your energy, all right? And then finally, understand the difference between being starving and simply eating the correct amount of food. This is another big one. I want you to start feeling that and understanding that when you want that extra bit of cake or extra bit of whatever it is you want to eat, you are not starving, all right? And this goes to myself as well. Like, I'm not patronising anyone here because I do the exact same. But when I do then eat it, I understand it just because I'm being excessive. So when it comes to me losing weight and stuff like that, I do have the ability to acknowledge I am not starving. I need to just stop eating that food. And I think acknowledgement and addressing that issue in your brain is the key stepping point to stopping it, if that makes sense. So once you acknowledge that, like, you are eating excessively and you don't need it, I think that's the first step to helping you go forward. Okay, so yeah, so that's this week's lecture. Any questions, just let me know via the app.